everyone, and welcome to Books Unbound, the podcast where we unbind books to get to their hearts with your hosts, us. It's Ariel and
Raeleen.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. We are here today. Not gonna lie, a little downtrodden. We're both a little not as active as usual. I have just gotten... This is the first day, okay, where I have felt myself. I have just gotten out of a sickness. A week-long illness. I texted some friends. I forget if I texted this to you, but I've fallen ill. Like, I literally just,
oh, no.
I felt like a Jane Austen character that had fallen ill.
You just need to go to the sea.
Exactly. I just needed some time by the seaside. It was so bad, you guys. I haven't been that sick in ages, but I mean, you were just sick a couple weeks ago. I was sick for 2
weeks as well. I've never been that sick for that long. Like, it was bad. Crazy. It knocked me out. But I probably won't be sick for like 5 years now.
that would be kind of a good trade-off. Like, I kind of would be fine with that.
A little extra phlegm for a few extra years. I'll take it.
It was just one of the, like, I mean, every year you get sick. Once or twice you get sick every year. I get that. But it just felt like last year I didn't really get sick. At least I don't remember it. But then I feel like this one just was deeper. It just went to a new depth in a way that I haven't experienced in a long time. Part of me is like, you know, flus and COVIDs and all of these, they do continue to mutate. So I'm like, maybe it was like a new strain of something that got me, or maybe it's because I'm in my 30s. And
I was wondering that too. I'm like, am I just weaker now?
Am I just weak? I don't know what it was, but it was something, and it got me good. And so the last week I have just been in bed, and it's, you know, again, actually I do kind of remember this from my last cold. It was one of those situations where you know you're actually sick when you stop feeling bad about not working, you stop feeling bad about like not being productive. That doesn't even occur to you. It doesn't even occur to you.
I'm a slug. I exist to lie down.
Exactly. I had multiple days of that. God, I went through 2 boxes of Kleenex. I'm very liberal in my Kleenex use, you know? To me, that's like the only tool I have. It's all I've got in the trenches. And I'm just like, Kleenex is my friend, and I just like really go through Kleenex a lot. Oh God, it was horrible though. It was horrible. I'm scared. Anyways, I'm still feeling quite tired and quite, I don't know if you can still hear it I think you can still hear it in my throat. But I am still feeling quite tired, but I'm excited for the episode today, everyone, because it's our quarterly update.
Oh yes.
So we started instituting these a couple of years ago because we like really lean into our yearly goals, and that's like a big part of our reading process. And we like sharing that with you guys. And then we realized, and because of actually some people's suggestions as well, we realized it was more fun every quarter to just check in, like, how are the yearly goals going? How is the reading going compared to other years? So we started doing these quarterly updates. But this year they're taking on a larger significance than usual, because we've completely changed the way we do goals around here. Instead of doing a bunch of goals at the beginning of the year and trying to accomplish them throughout the year, we've decided to have a new goal every quarter. And so today's actually like a refresh point. And it's funny how closely it's lined up with the old spring equinox. Because spring just started a few days ago, and now here we are. Although I don't know about you, it's not feeling like spring over here. It's snowing like crazy.
Okay, it's been so confusing actually. Weather update over here is that on Thursday it was like 18 degrees, beautiful. Friday so much snow. Like, it was immediately -2 or something, and there was snow everywhere. I was like,
no.
What? And then Saturday was just kind of like a continuation of like cold and foggy. And then yesterday, Sunday, it was like 17 degrees again. So,
oh, Lord.
I don't know. I live in a crazy place, let me tell you.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like that's what spring is. This is why I can't get behind spring.
I agree.
My brother and my husband love spring, and they're trying to convince me spring's so great and so beautiful. And like, I'm not going to pretend that there's nothing good about it. Obviously, it's very exciting when you like see the little first buds and the first flowers and everything. But my opinion is that everyone that says they like spring, here's a hot take. Everyone that says they like spring actually likes early summer.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They like the warming up elements, but not the truth, which is that there's lots of rain or snow a lot of the time.
Yes, it's a mess. Spring is so unpredictable. It is, and maybe people like that, but like I hate the unpredictability where exactly what you just said has been happening over here. We had a day where I think it reached 17, and I was standing outside like doing a jig, you know? I was like, this is so glorious. It's sunny.
Spring
it's beautiful. And then today we're literally covered in snow. And for the last few days, it's been raining like crazy. The stream behind my house has been like at the highest it ever goes. And it's just been like crazy amounts of rain. And you're just like literally getting hit with everything. And it's just like, it's emotional whiplash. Quite frankly, I'm not ready for it. I just want it to be nice and stable summer.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's beautiful.
Do I like it more than winter? You see, this is the I think I like winter more because again, you know what? Apparently, one of the things I like is
Stability.
reliability, stability. Because I like that with the winter. Yeah, it's cold, but you know what you're signing up for. You get that, like, you get to do certain activities and just block things off, and it's got a cozy element to it.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I kind of like the unpredictability of spring. It's sort of like fall in that way where it's like, is it going to be really cold or is it going to be like a sunshiny pumpkin day today? Like you kind of don't know what you're going to get. And I don't mind it, but I definitely know what you mean. Like it's nice to be like, I'm going to go skiing tomorrow and know that that's possible in winter. With the spring, it's like, I don't know what I can do tomorrow.
Yeah. It's also like, you know, you'll have like a really warm sunny day and you'll think, this is it.
Yeah, we're done.
It's all turning around. This is beautiful. And you wake up the next day and it's raining. That's soul crushing. That's like extra sad. Anyways, I'm obviously in a sad mood because of my cold. Maybe tomorrow it'll be sunny and I'll feel better and
I think
I'll
so.
love spring.
Yeah, you might be like, just kidding. I love you.
All right, but yeah, I've been really sick, and what I've been doing is watching a lot of period dramas. That's all I've been doing, Ray. I've been watching a lot of period dramas. A lot of period dramas.
Okay, so like how many?
Well, I watched the 2005 Pride and Prejudice and then the 2020 Emma. Then I watched the 1995 BBC miniseries version of Pride and Prejudice. Then I watched North and South, another miniseries that I love. So good. That's 4 episodes. Then I watched an episode of Lark Rise to Candleford. I didn't really like it. It was okay. Like it was, I don't know. It had a weird vibe. There was some strange energy going on there. Oh man, and I watched something else that I'm forgetting. I also watched the first Hobbit movie.
Oh, and thoughts?
It was simultaneously better and worse than I remember.
I know what you mean.
Basically, like, you can't help but compare it to The Lord of the Rings, which, like, maybe is unfair, but also it's just there. The two are in contrast. And The Lord of the Rings is so good. It's just so good. It's, like, the best example of that thing that exists. So it's, like, very difficult to compare the two. And The Hobbit had a much more difficult life, the way that it started. It was supposed to be directed by Guillermo del Toro, which makes so much sense to me because so many of the decisions that feel like Guillermo decisions, and I don't like Guillermo's filming style. I don't really like his like the vibe that he goes with monsters and stuff like that. Frank, speaking of, like, currently he's obviously big because of Frankenstein. Like, a lot of the things that he does don't really vibe with me. I'm more on the Peter Jackson thing, but then Peter Jackson basically had to step in last minute because Guillermo del Toro fell out of the project.
I didn't know.
And it was kind of too late to turn some certain things back, and then they ended up relying heavily on CGI, which is a disaster in any situation. Yeah. So looking back on it, I always think of these movies like they had too much CGI, and they definitely do. But what's funny is that when you go back and watch them, the CGI is actually so much better than I remember. Because now it's one of these great ironies of life. But like, here we are, like 15 years on, and CGI is actually worse in so many ways.
I know, it's awful.
Because it's so rushed, right? Yeah. You know, like, an example of this, of course, is Stranger Things. Stranger Things had such an incredible use of CGI in the first few seasons. How is it that it has, like, more money and more budget and more time, but the CGI is worse, it's because they rush it and they don't pay people enough and no one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just an example of how we see, like, how was CGI better before? So actually going back to watch this, I'm like, actually this CGI is actually way better than a lot of like Marvel stuff now, or stuff that I'm seeing where I'm like, the CGI has gotten really bad. It's actually better than I remember, but it's still worse than Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
if that makes sense there. The other thing is just that they really tried to make it you can tell it's a disaster because the screenplay was written by 4 people, and it's and like Peter Jackson's there, and Fran Welsh, and like Philippa Boyd, I think, still, but then also Guillermo del Toro. Mm-hmm. And so you have these huge creative decisions being pulled in so many directions. It's such a tiny book. Why would it need to be written by 4 people turned into 3 movies? I know. And it's a tiny book compared to the Lord of the Rings, which is so massive. And that's what it feels like. It feels like insane bloat. It feels like there's all this action stuff, Ray, that is just not in the book, which is why I kind of rewatched the movie in my sleepy sickness haze. I was like, I'll watch The Hobbit. I just read the book. I haven't seen the movie in like 10 years. And I start watching it, and like some of the sequences are so beautiful and so good. The stuff in like the Shire is so nice. So many nice things. But then they just have so much war, and I'm like, that's not in the book. You're trying it. And so basically that was my final thing I'll say is, and this is what I was saying to Connor, is that they tried to make it epic, and it's not epic.
It's not supposed to be epic.
It's not supposed to be epic. Like, that was not the point of the book. That was not the point of the story. That is not the point of Bilbo. That's not the point of this quest. Like, none of this is supposed to be epic. And it's like they're trying to make it more epic than the Lord of the Rings somehow.
It's like, stop. Stop.
But I did watch it. Like, I watched the whole thing and I had fun. So I'm not saying like it's garbage, but
yeah.
I didn't mean to go on for so long about that.
It's okay. It's relevant because you just read the book. So it actually is kind of fun to hear a direct review.
The other thing that I did was watch another entire series of Drive to Survive. We'll talk about more about F1 later, but let's just say it's been a busy week of watching.
That's funny. On the flip side, I've had a busy couple of weeks of like sports, which is weird. So a week ago, Kyle and I got invited to go to a hockey game. And we were like, cool, okay. Like, one of our friends had a couple of extra tickets for, like, the box seats. So, like, through her work, she got them. And so she was like, yeah, come along. So we went.
What tier of hockey?
It was, like, whatever is below, like, the NHL. I don't know. Okay. I know nothing about sports. So it was the Calgary Hitmen versus Edmonton Oil Kings. Like, I remembered the names. It just took me a second. And it was so fun, honestly. Like, I haven't been to a live sports game in quite a long time because it's just not something I'm that interested in, but it's such a fun group activity. Like, it's the type of thing that I think is so fun when you go with a group of people. But it was also so funny because there was this group of kids in like the box seat just to the right of us, and they were all so excited about the hockey that it like made me more excited.
That's great.
And every time they saw the mascot, like he would come walking around, the kids would just freak out like he was Harry Styles or something. It was so awesome. And like there was this one kid holding a younger sibling, I assume, this little baby, and he was like yelling at the mascot, "There's a child here who wants to meet you," at the mascot. And I was like, yep, this is awesome. This is great. Like, I forgot how funny kids can be. So yeah, that was a really fun experience. And then, so that was like last weekend, I guess. And then just a couple of days ago, we went to this place called Launchpad, which is a golf place. So it's sort of like a driving range, but they have like multiple levels, so you can just have tons of people just like hitting balls, but it's also got like a kind of virtual element, so you can like gamify it. So like we just put our names in, almost like bowling. Like you put yourself in the little system, and then everybody takes their turn and sees who can hit the ball the farthest, or sees who can get it most accurately on this specific little like island. And I'm really bad at golf, as you know. I've only ever hit balls one time, and it was with you. And I was pretty bad, but it was fun. It was a fun time. Once again, group activity, getting outside. The weather was beautiful, so we just went for it. But yeah, that's kind of all I've been doing, is that, and also playing video games with my brother and Kyle. You know how we were really into Call of Duty Warzone a while ago? Now we're obsessed with Borderlands 2. We literally played for 5 hours yesterday, and we played for like probably 4 hours 2 days before that, and like 4 hours the day before that. Like, we have gone crazy this weekend because it was Kyle's birthday weekend as well, so we had a few extra days off. And we spent a lot of that time playing video games. But to be fair, it was snowing most of the time as well. So
Yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I know, but it's just been so
that
fun.
sounds like fun though.
It has
sounds
been fun.
like you say, like kind of an active couple of
And
days.
kind of like more social than I might have been. You know, it's been nice. Kyle has made friends through work, so I'm starting to make friends too, which is nice.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. My crab hands. I'm an excited crab.
Get your little grubby hens in there.
So yeah, it's been a good time.
All right. Well, all of this fun life stuff aside, we've got some goals to check in on. Mm-hmm. So let's look at our quarterly update here, folks. It's an exciting time. I have done the worst job tracking my reading this year than I have maybe
this
ever
was so
done.
Funny.
If you will recall, Raeleen, the other day we were talking about our quarterly goals or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I texted Raeleen and I said, I have something to say that will scare you. Raeleen was like, go on. And I said, I'm just now, and this was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Mid-March.
I am just now creating my 2026 reading spreadsheet. I had not written down anything that I'd read, anything that I'd bought. I mean, I'm not tracking that anymore. That's gone out the window.
Cares?
I can't track it anymore. But I hadn't written down anything that I'd read at all. I had no idea what I'd read. So I had to like go. And the reason I was telling you was because I was like, do you remember what I read?
Can you help me?
We figured it out. We
got
So I think that is kind of funny how, I don't know what's up with me this year. I do kind of feel like a lot of start-stop action has happened this year. There was like this big work project that I was like it was like gonna take over my entire year. It was very interesting. And then the contract fell through and it just completely got canceled at the beginning of February. And so what I thought my year was gonna be like completely changed. And then all of this work had to be reset. And it was like this whole thing. But then also I had that early England trip and then the whole week of being sick. And it's just been all of these things that have felt really start-stoppy.
Yeah.
And my reading has felt very shoved into the cracks of the year as opposed to being a more domineering story. If I can self-narrate this, try and put together a little tale here. But I guess I can just start by looking at my stats here. I have read 6 books this year. There's 2 that I read this week, Raeleen, that I'm not going to tell you about yet because I have a big reveal on one of them.
Okay, that's exciting.
Big reveal on one of them. But it is currently March 22nd, and I've read 6 books. Last year, by March 21st, I had read 6 books.
Oh, wow.
So I'm actually in the exact same place that I was before. The year before, 2024, my greatest reading year of all time. So it's difficult to compare to this one because it's like I've never been that good. But by March 24th, I had read 15 books. Crazy. Just crazy. And the year before that, I'll do one more, 2023, more representative year. By March 24th, I had read 6 books. So actually, apparently, I am perfectly on track.
This is exactly what you always do.
It's very consistent. Never mind. I take it all back. I'm doing great. Yeah. Comparing the books that I've read 2 graphic novels, 2 classics, and a nonfiction book, and a literary fiction book. So a little varied, but already I've read 2 graphic novels, which is more than last year. Last year I only read Persepolis, which was very strange. My ratings, though, feel low, actually. Last year, 2025. Yes, last year was an incredible start. The first 6 books were 3.8 stars, 4 stars, 4.5 stars, 3 stars, 5 stars, 4 stars. Like, it was a lot of 4s, a 5, a 4.5. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like really high. This year I'm looking at 3, 4, 5, 3, 3, 3.
That's rough.
Feeling pretty mid about the whole situation.
Yeah.
Half are fiction, half are nonfiction. 1 reread, The Hobbit. So that's, again, cool, because I think last year I didn't reread a book. Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. No rereads and almost no graphic novels. It was like, who is she?
Who was I last year? And what I will say as well is that my purchasing has completely influenced my reading. So 4 of the 6 books I've read, I bought this year.
Oh, wow.
So again, it's not that many. It's not like a huge number to take the data from, but we have the numbers that we have. So I think that's kind of interesting. I guess it's kind of par for the course for old Ariel.
Yeah.
As for my goals, let's talk. All right, let's look at our goals. I'm going to start by looking at my yearly goal. We each have one big overarching goal for the year. And I have spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours working on my book history website.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So I've just texted it to you. It's possible it won't work.
I love that. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's so cute. Okay.
Okay, great. I'm so glad that it loaded. So when this episode goes live, everyone will be able to see my new website, which has the same URL. Well, it will have the same URL when everything goes live. What is my URL? Bookhistoryofnovascotia.com. Yeah, excellent. But I've made a whole new website. I don't know if people remember, but I was not happy with the website I had before. I really wanted to zhuzh it up and make it really fun. And I was looking at templates and stuff, and I stumbled upon some websites that pretend to be other things.
Yeah.
So pretend to be a book or pretend to be a web portal. And I was like, this is so cute. And it kind of feels fitting because it's a research project. So if you weren't here for the first episode, basically my goal for the year is to make a website called bookhistoryofnovascotia.com where I do some research projects into book history of Nova Scotia. And I started with Margaret Marshall Saunders, who is the first Canadian best-selling author of all time.
Whoa.
Yeah. She was the first Canadian author to ever sell over 1 million copies of her book.
Oh my God.
So Raeleen, on the so I made my website look like a fake desktop.
Yes,
because it's that. It's like an archive is what I feel like. You're doing the research with me.
Can I say something as well?
Yeah.
Stars appeared on the screen at one point. It was like a screensaver. Was that on purpose?
It was a screensaver. Yeah, I made it so that if you don't touch the fake desktop, a fake screensaver comes up.
That's so great. Okay, I'm glad.
All right, so if you open the bottom icon on the desktop, which says marshallsaunders.research, it will open up a fake Windows tab. Does it open?
Yeah.
You're my first person that's actually looked at the website other than me, Connor. And so this is what we'll insert some screenshots here as well for people, but this is what the website will look like for all of my little research projects. The research actually isn't fully posted in here yet, right? Because I know that this episode isn't going out for another week, so I still have a week to finish my details.
This is so cute,
But you can see, I've inserted all sorts. Ray, on the desktop, do you see that there's a little GIF on the right-hand side that's kind of like a wave?
Yes.
If you double click that, it will open that GIF of a seal. We took that together when we were at Peggy's Cove. Do you remember?
I remember him fondly. I know the moment I opened it up, I was like, it's that guy. I remember this.
I've done so much work on this website, Raeleen, taking a video and making it into a GIF, or taking all of the photos or my own photos that I have then gone through a pixelating website to make them pixelated so that they look old-timey, or I don't know, also just doing a lot of research. On the Margaret Marshall Saunders page, if you look at pictures and you scroll through the pictures, those are all pictures I found through different archives and
wow. Yeah, this is super legit is how I would describe this. I'm like, this
Thanks,
is
man.
Sweet.
But it's also
work. Fun. You've done it in a way that it's I actually want to look at this, and normally I wouldn't. I'm like, oh.
I'm really glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because that was my exact hope. It would just be fun to click around on everything. The other one, on the third icon is Lighthouse Keeper. If you click on that, it's a video game that me and Claire made. Basically, I was like, I want to have a little video game. What should it be? And I happened to be on the phone with Claire, and Claire was like, you should have a lighthouse and it should keep the ships away. And I was like, brilliant. So then I downloaded sound effects from Epidemic Sound to get a seagull sound and to get this sound and that sound. And anyways, I've poured so many hours into this website. It's been crazy.
That's good. I'm glad you've been doing it though, because this is what you wanted to do, and you've been doing it.
This is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to do huge shout outs out to Connor, because you guys I'm sure I've mentioned it before, Connor is a software developer. Connor knows how to code. So like he's been helping me a lot with like making my dreams come true.
Yes.
When I'm like, I want to do this. How do I do that? But yeah, it's been really, really fun. And I've been learning a lot about coding and everything. So it's been really great. I'm really proud of it. I'm like really proud of it. It's awesome.
So this is awesome.
So that is my first big update. But now let's talk about my quarterly update. Oh wait, one final thing I wanted to say is that now that I have the book history website like looking and operating the way I want, now I can just more focus on the research. Most of my time so far has been making it the website. Yeah. But now I'm excited to keep just doing research projects and continuing to like learn and post the actual info on there. So there is a newsletter you can subscribe to on the website, and I'll send out a newsletter every time I put up a new project.
Amazing.
Okay. Now, my quarterly goal. My quarterly goal this first quarter, was to read my family's favorite books. I love this goal, and I am really glad that I chose it. I'm sad that I didn't complete it, but I'm still really glad that I started it. So I only read one of the 4 books, and that is The Hobbit, obviously, which I just talked about, like, because I saw the movie and everything. This is my mom's favorite book, and it was so fun to talk to my mom about it, like, to tell her, like, I'm reading it, and she's like, what part are you at? And just, like, updating her and everything. It was really, really fun, and it, like, when you're reading a book that you know is someone else's favorite, it makes you think about the book through their perspective. You're not just reading it because you wanted to read it, you're reading it because you're like, what does my mom love about this? Oh, I bet you my mom thought that was funny. And so it's kind of like they're there a little bit with you, which was really cool. However, I didn't read the next 3, which were Watership Down, Dune, and The Lord of the Rings. I started The Lord of the Rings, and I was really loving it. And then I don't know what happened. Whatever always happens to Ariel's reading where it gets diverted. Whatever that was, that happened. I'm not going to give up on this goal internally, but I am kind of excited to let go of the goal externally for you guys, where I'm just like, okay, I tried and it didn't work out, but I still want to read these books. Like, I'm really excited to read Dune because, did you see, you didn't because you don't like trailers, but did you see the trailer for the third Dune?
I actually did, Kyle, because there was the new Spider-Man trailer and the new Dune trailer. I was like, okay, I'll watch those 2. I'll watch those 2 and then I'll move on.
What'd you think of the Dune trailer?
I mean, it looked cool. Robert Pattinson looks so fucking weird.
He looks
and
really
I love that.
Weird.
I'm so excited for that.
I'm so excited. So I think it takes place 17 years after the second one.
Yeah, because Anya Taylor-Joy's all grown up.
Yeah, everyone's big and like everyone's older, and it hurts to see Timmy's hair get cut off like that. But like, okay, but like it seems I really love the chanting, like the chanting song that they use for the trailer. Such an exciting trailer. But anyways, I really want to read the book. I don't need to read the book before the movie. I've already seen the first 2 without reading them, but it would be fun to do that. Similarly, I was already loving Lord of the Rings, and I really want to read Watership Down. Like, it's CJ's favorite book. It would be so fun to read it. So also, the best book I read this year was The Hobbit.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad I did that, and I wouldn't have read it otherwise, like reread it otherwise. So yeah, so I'm glad I did it. I recommend people do this goal. The fact that I didn't accomplish it isn't because it's not a good goal. It's because I'm really bad at TBRs, which is funny because I'm setting myself another one.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I'm kind of doing something similar with my quarter 2. Like it's not, but it is, you know.
Can't learn from my mistakes.
I think the problem with us is that we like having some kind of structure, but we also like being free. So it's like we can't decide what to do.
I can't help myself.
Like I like having some kind of framework to work within, because otherwise I'm just like, I don't know what to read. I didn't make a decision, you know, a month ago, so how am I supposed to know what to read now? I'm lost.
That's really funny. I don't know. I feel like I always figure out what to read next. But it is just like, there are all these books I want to read. So I'm like, if I make a plan, maybe I will read them.
Right.
And then I just move on to something else. The call of the freedom is too strong. Okay, but that's an update on my quarterly goal. So quarterly goal 1 failed. I do have a question, though, for you, Raeleen. Okay. Because this whole new quarterly goals thing, it's a new thing for us. Yeah. We're making up the rules as we go.
Yeah.
If by the end of the year, I do read all of those books, do I then get to say that I accomplished that quarterly goal?
I would say yes. 100%.
I agree.
Because I think the intention is to do it. And if you do it, even if it's a little late, I don't think that that's bad. Like, I think if you, because the whole reason we did quarterly goals is because, like, we've heard a lot of people suggest it too. It's sort of like, it feels good to have like a short-term goal, just to like keep in your mind. And then it's like, okay, well, if I didn't accomplish it, it's not like you're a complete failure. It's just like, maybe you needed a little more time, or maybe you weren't in the mood for those specific books, because as we know, we don't like adhering to TBRs. So if you do it later in the year, I still think you did it. Like, it's a quarterly goal of 2026. If you do it in 2026, sure, why the hell not?
I completely agree with you. I agree with you, because basically, like, this is a big experiment for us, and we're trying it out. And I think the point of it, like you just said, the point of it is to kind of learn, do I actually care about this goal? Is this, because I think if I zoom out even more, the point of all of this is to help us find books we're going to love. In lots of different ways that we might go about that. Like, I've always thought I would like sci-fi. I'm going to try reading more sci-fi. I always thought I would want to read more of these types of books, or those types of books, or whatever. So we just are constantly trying new little goals, missions, side quests. And often what we learn is we don't actually care. Yeah. Like, oh, I forgot about that goal, or I actually didn't end up prioritizing that at all. I guess I don't care about sci-fi. Yeah. I guess I don't really care about that author.
Yourself a
or whatever. Bit. Yeah, it teaches about yourself through those failures as well, or through the wins where you're like, oh, I ended up reading all of these and I love them, and I learned that I love this new author. Oh, it's the most talking I've done in like a week, and I'm like winded. Just fading. Anyways, my point is, I don't feel like I'm done with this goal, because it worked and I was enjoying it. I just feel like I do need more time. I couldn't accomplish it in 3 months, but that doesn't mean I couldn't accomplish it maybe in a year. So I'm going to keep this one in my back pocket, because I think if what it taught me is, this is cool, reading your family and your friends' books is cool, you want to keep doing that, and you want to sew that in and thread that through with your reading, then how is that a failure if I do it? So that's just me trying to give myself some excuses, you know. I will, though, now share my new goal.
Oh my god. Okay. This is so juicy.
This is juicy. I hope that this is not a disappointment to anyone, because it's so niche to me. Okay. And I'm like, is this gonna really, are people gonna care about this? But like, I am so excited. I was very tempted to do this for the first quarter of the year. And then I was just like, no, this isn't the right time, but for reasons. And then I was like, maybe I'll do it in quarter 2. I have not been able to get it out of my head. The idea of doing anything other goal has not even occurred to me. I'm like, I want to do this goal.
Love it.
And it is to finish the Anne of Green Gables series. So, I have 3 books left.
Wow.
I have Anne of Ingleside, Rainbow Valley, and Rilla of Ingleside. I see I am holding them out of order. 6, 7, and 8.
Wow.
I have started the 6th one.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was trying to remember.
I am partway through the 6th one, but we still have a lot way to go, and all of the 7th and all of the 8th. Now, you might think to yourself, Ariel, you literally just set yourself a TBR of 4 books and failed that. Why do you think these 3 other sizable books you'll be able to do? Here's my thinking. I did it last year.
You sure did.
Last year, I read I read 3 Anne of Green Gables books. I had some of the best reading times of my life.
I know, those were
been
like a
chasing
highlight.
that high ever since. You know, I love these books, and there's lots of factors here. First, I don't want to go a whole year before reading another one. I don't want to kind of, the recency of the series is still in my head. If I finish it soon, it will have felt like a concerted effort over a period of time, as opposed to a really splotchy thing that got way too spread out.
Yeah.
Secondly, I am just really excited about them. Like, I want to know what happens to Anne. I've heard that the 8th book is really, really good. The 8th book is barely about Anne. It's like mainly about her daughter. And it's like supposedly one of the best books written about the First World War in Canada, and like what it was like for women in rural Canada during the war. Yeah. I'm like, I want to read about that. That's really interesting. And so I really want to read the series. The other thing is that I'm working on an Anne project right now that I can't talk about yet, but hopefully very soon. I'm working on an Anne project, and I'm just like, I really need to finish this series. Like, I want to know what really happens in all of these books. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So anyways, this is what I want to focus on.
I love that.
I just want to read these books.
And it doesn't feel like a TBR in a weird way, because it just feels like you're continuing something that you love already. It's not like
I know. And you know why
new.
I love this goal? I love this goal because it kind of gives me permission to do what I really want to do.
Yeah.
Like for the next few months, I get to just keep saying no to other things and saying yes to these books. I'm like, it's my goal. Like, it's my whole, I have to do it for the podcast or else I'll let everyone down.
Yeah.
I gotta read it. Rainbow Valley.
Rainbow Valley, baby.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. I think that it will be a lot of fun. And I also think these are really good for the spring.
Oh, yeah. And to me,
books
just
are very
screams spring or fall, like whichever one you want.
Yeah.
But they feel like they fit both those seasons so well. I love that. That's beautiful.
Totally.
I also think picking 3 books is wise. I think 3 books for 3 months is the way to do it.
Feels more manageable somehow. All right, Ray, that's my big update. Now let's turn to you.
Yes.
How was your quarter and what do we have ahead?
Okay, well, my main goal for the whole year, as some may remember, is to read 50 books off of my existing TBR. So any new books that I have purchased so far in 2026 do not count towards this goal, because I'm trying to buy less / like not have the recency bias where every time I buy a book, I'm like, I'll just read that instead of one of the 200 other books that I have been wanting to read for years. So I'm really trying to prioritize my like backlist TBR, I guess, because that's something I always want to do and just somehow don't do. So far, I guess let me look at my reading spreadsheet too to see how many books I've read total. So far I have read 15 books this year. Okay. 2 of them were graphic novels. How does that compare? I didn't keep track of dates last year. This is my first time, so I can't really compare, but it's probably about the same. You know, I would assume it's around the same. But this year I feel like I've read a few more classics. Like I read Chess by Stefan Zweig. I read Les Mis, among a couple of others. So I feel like I'm like mixing up my reading a little bit, which is fun. But I also kind of feel kind of scattered and lost. And I think not having a specific TBR in any way is kind of like contributing to that a little. Because at least like if you remember in 2024, I did my 24 and 24 TBR. And I feel like for the first couple of months, that was like almost exclusively what I was reading. And then it kind of like fell off as the year went. But I'm like, I do kind of like having some guidance. But anyway, it's also nice to be free. So I'm trying to like understand what that is for me. But anyway, so as far as my goal goes, I've read 15 books and 10 of them so far have been off my backlist TBR.
Oh, okay,
so
great.
I'm like, if you look at the whole year, like I should be reading an average of 4 per month. So I should be at 12 by the end of March. I still have like another week in March, so I could probably, still be on track. So I think I'm technically on track for that. Because that is what I keep coming back to. I'm like, if I'm like, what do I want to read? I'm like, all right, let's try and pick a TBR book, unless I'm really just like can't find one that I might read something new or reread. Okay. Which kind of leads into my Q1 goal, which was to reread 3 books. So, so I had these kind of like 2 conflicting things happening at the same time, which I thought was kind of fun, because I was like, I could read anything. Like I could just read anything I want and it'll work for something pretty much. And I failed as well. I was only able to reread 2 instead of 3. So close. I know. So I reread The Shining very early on in the year. And then the second reread was kind of a secret, because it's kind of related to a present for someone, but I'll tell you what it is anyway. Right. And that was Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Yes. So that was a book that I read when I was a kid. Like I was like 12 or 13 probably when I read that, and I absolutely hated it. But for reasons that I'm not going to get too deep into, in case a certain someone is listening, I wanted to reread this book. And I did, and I absolutely loved it. So I was really, because it was a similar thing to with your Hobbit. Like I was reading it like for someone else kind of, and so I was reading it with that in mind, and like thinking about what this person would think while reading it, and it was just it was a really fun experience, so I'm really glad I did that. But I kind of kept it a secret, but those are the only 2 rereads that I was able to do. Like over the past week I was like, should I try and squeeze one in, like, but I just didn't feel like it. I couldn't land on one. Like it's kind of a hard goal, because I'm like, I have like probably 30 books that I've been like meaning to reread over the past few years, and obviously that's like a lot of books. So if I really wanted to reread all the books I want to reread, I wouldn't have time for anything else. So it's a hard balance, but I also don't feel like an utter failure, because I know I'll reread something later in the year. So it's kind of similar to your goal. Like I wanted to do it like squeezed into 3 months, because I thought it would be kind of cool to do that, but I don't feel bad that I didn't do it, because I'm following my heart above all else. I'm just trying to read what I want to read. Which leads me in to my quarter 2 goal. Okay. And like I kind of alluded to, it's sort of a TBR situation, but sort of not. Whoa. Okay. So I have been, and this is another thing. So similar to your Anne thing, I like got this idea and then I couldn't let go of it. And it started as a smaller idea and I let it get really big. Okay. So basically, as we know, over the years, I've had moments where I love to buy 3 or 4 or 5 books from an author and just like let them stack up, you know?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's something that is notorious. Like I'm notorious for that, and I try not to do it, but I keep doing it because I just get so excited for some reason.
You really are notorious. That's very self-aware. You've become very enlightened.
Yes, I know. Like I understand it. I know that this has happened to me before. Hashtag Kawakami problems. But yeah, so I've decided. I looked at my shelves and I picked out every author that I own 3 or more books from.
Oh, that you haven't read.
That I have not read, and I'll show them to you now. But the goal is to read at least 3 books from these authors.
So not 3 books by the same. It doesn't have to be by the same author.
It can be anyone. Like, I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself. Like, originally I had 3 authors picked out, and I was like, I have to read 1 from each. And that felt very limiting. And so once I started looking at the bigger picture, I was like, no, I have a lot more than 3 authors that I've done this with. And so here we go. Without further ado, let me show you the authors.
This is so interesting, Raeleen, because I can see a thing happening where you will read a book by one of these authors that you already own 3 or 4 books by. You won't really like it, and you'll just end up donating the whole pack.
I'm kind of hoping that'll happen. This would be a good way to like clear out my TBR a little. But I don't know if it will, because most of these authors I have read at least 1 book from. So it's not like exclusively I haven't read them. But anyway, I will start with the smaller stacks. I have lots of little stacks of 3 or 4 or 5. And then I have a couple of authors that have very large stacks, as I'm sure you'll be able to guess as we go along. So first up, I've got Banana Yoshimoto. So I've got Lizard, The Premonition, and Amrita by this author.
Okay.
I have read 2 books from her and loved both of them. Like I've read Kitchen and NP, and I really enjoyed both of those. So I've been like collecting her. They also all match, which is just gorgeous. So I've been kind of collecting her books and just like saving them for a rainy day. And now I'm like, maybe that rainy day is now. Next up, we have Eve Babbitts. This will surprise no one.
Interessante.
Yeah. I just recently bought Black Swans, so you'll remember that. And then I have Eve's Hollywood and I Used to Be Charming. So very excited about these. These are the type of books that I could just see becoming mashed potato books because I just feel like I'm going to love them so much based on how much I love the other book of hers I read. So I'm like, this is what I do sometimes too, is like I'll read 1 book and then go crazy and buy a whole bunch of books from that author. So that's kind of what has happened here. And so I want to break the pattern and actually read another one before I buy another one, if possible. Okay, next up, I have, this one's kind of funny because it's a trilogy, but Garth Nix. I have his trilogy that starts with Sabriel, and it's a fantasy series, like YA fantasy, so I'm like, come on, I could read that. I could totally do that. And if I've been kind of getting into a fantasy mood recently, I think, so I think that this could be the move. But the thing with this is like, if I read 1, do I want to read all 3? Maybe.
That's tough.
Maybe.
That is tough.
And honestly, like if I end up reading more than 3 from these authors, I'll feel great. So I don't mind. That's just my minimum. But I am kind of in my heart hoping that I'll read more like 5 or 6. Anywho. Okay. Next up, we've got John Wyndham. Oh, he's an author I love. I love The Chrysalids, The Day of the Triffids. I've read Chalky. Like I've read quite a few of his books, but I have 3 here that I have not read, which are Consider Her Ways and Other Stories, Trouble with Lichen, and The Kraken Wakes. So 3 more sci-fi classics. So this is kind of throwing some interesting genres in there.
Yeah, that's neat.
Next up, this is a big one. F. Scott Fitzgerald. As you will remember, I bought so many F. Scott Fitzgerald books in the beginning of the year because I went thrifting and used book shopping, and I got so many. So I have On Booze, which is like just a short story kind of, or short like collection of essays. Then I have Tender is the Night, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, The Beautiful and the Damned, and This Side of Paradise. I also have a collection of his short stories, but I definitely know I will not read that because it's huge. But I would love to read at least one of these. Like, he is high on my list.
That's so far the one I'm the most excited about.
That's the thing. I knew that there would be, like, you know, certain ones that you, like, want me to read more than others.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because it all will depend on my mood. Next up is Joan Didion. I have 4 books, and she is one that I have not read at all. So this is one of the darkest corners of my bookshelves. 4? I don't even know if I like her. So I have The Year of Magical Thinking.
It's so funny, like, the first time you buy a book by an author you haven't read, that doesn't mean it. That just
fine.
means you're curious. The second time you're like, okay, I know I still have that other one, but this one seems really cool.
Yeah.
The third time is a little unhinged. Like, you're like, okay, I have 2 books by this author, but I just really think I'm going to like them, and this sounds great. The 4th time you're buying a Joan Didion book, I don't even know what
the 4th time, this was thrifted, and it was like only $1 or something, so I had to. I just couldn't leave it behind. So yeah, I have The Year of Magical Thinking, The White Album, Slouching Towards Bethlehem, and Play It As It Lays. So I think I will be a failure if I don't read at least one of those. That's... No pressure, right? But that is how I'm feeling about myself right now. I feel like she has to be one of the ones. And when it was only 3 authors, she was one of them. I was like, I have to read her.
Of course.
I have to. Okay, we're getting down to the wire now. So my last little small stack is Natsuo Kirino, who is another author I have read. I've read Out by her a couple of years ago, and it was one of my favorite books of the year. Absolutely loved that book. And so I've naturally been collecting some more. So I have Grotesque, which is the one that's been on my shelves the longest, and then I also have Real World and Swallows, which is her newest book. So that's another one that I really, really want to read another one of hers soon, because it's just been too long, and I really, really like her. Okay, on to the final 2 stacks. Do you have any guesses about who these are going to be?
Haruki Murakami and... Oh, I would guess Stephen King, but... yeah, I'm going to guess Stephen King.
Let me retrieve my first stack. I have to, like... I'll be right back.
This is fun.
Okay, so you were correct in Haruki Murakami. Oh my god, look how big. My Murakami stack is huge. I'm not going to read off all the titles because there's so many, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 unread. And I've read quite a lot, so... I feel like this one is justified, like, that I have this many, because also I'm kind of saving him, you know? He's one of those authors that I, like, don't want to read through too fast.
That feels different to me, because you probably read 8 books by him
something like that, yeah.
And so it's just an author you really like.
Exactly.
It's not really,
This doesn't feel the
specific
same.
editions.
Exactly. This is different from the others, but I also still, like, want to read more of his books. Like, I am halfway through Sputnik Sweetheart, so I'll probably read that, but that also kind of feels like cheating for the goal, so because I'm already halfway through it, but we'll see what happens. Okay.
Okay.
Last stack.
Who else could it be if it's not Stephen King?
Your instincts are correct, my friend. It is Stephen King. But look it's all of his most massive books. That I haven't read yet.
Scary pile.
Yeah,
you got
so
there.
I have a scary pile. I'll like kind of give some highlights. Like I've got The Talisman, Cujo, Dr. Sleep. Actually, I think if I had to pick one that I definitely want to read, it would be Dr. Sleep, because that's the sequel to The Shining. And the whole reason I reread The Shining was because I wanted to, but also because I wanted to reread it in anticipation of reading Dr. Sleep.
Right,
so I feel like that's kind of the one I'm leaning towards, but also I want to be open to anything. Because, like, The Talisman, I wanted to read this in 2024 and did not. This was on a specific TBR I made. So that one is also kind of like, feel like I should read that. Another thing I feel like we should mention is that in Q2 of the year, Mashed Potato May is happening. So I feel like these goals are kind of working with that, because a lot of these books are mashed potato books, or I want to read them before they become mashed potato books. So I kind of was thinking about that too. I was like, it has to be Q2. It has to be. So, yes, my goal is to read at least 3 books from these stacks, and we'll see what happens. I'm really curious if I'll just, like, read 3 books from the same author, or if I'll go all over the place. Like, I have no idea.
I really like this goal. I really like the way that you formatted it. I really like it because it's very specific to you.
Yes.
Like, I'm sure other people do this as well, but like, you are my reading friend that has done this the most, where you like buy, and so it's like a specific Raeleen quirk, and so you're addressing a specific Raeleen reading quirk, and I think that's really cool. But also, obviously, it totally fits into your yearly goal.
Yeah, like the only
any
book...
of these books that you read will work for your yearly goal.
Like the Black Swans, the Eve Babbitt's book that I bought recently, is the only one that doesn't work. So if I were to read one of her books, though, I'd probably pick a different one anyway. So it totally works. I'm like, all of these books have been on my TBR for ages. So
I think that's I love this goal. I also am glad that you actually went through and shared all the books with us, because I would have been really curious. So that was a lot of fun. And I'm sure lots of people are listening and they're like, they've read one of them and they think you should read it. So let us know in the comments or wherever if there's one of the ones Raeleen mentioned that you think she should prioritize and read first.
Yes, thank you.
That's really fun, Ray. Wow. Do you have a feeling which one you're going to start with?
Ooh, it's tough. I'm in the middle of a book right now, but I feel like I could finish it in the next day or two. So I could totally start. What would you choose for me if you had to?
I would choose The White Album by Joan Didion.
That does feel like in line with what I'm kind of in the mood for. I'm like, yeah.
I just feel like it's crazy that you own 4 of her books.
I really should start with Joan. I really should. And The White Album was the first one. So that would be interesting. Go to the source. Whichever book I got first from that author.
Yeah, go to the source. Where did this all begin?
How did this obsession start? No, that's a very good idea. And I've been wanting to read more nonfiction lately because I've read a few fiction books in a row. So that could be the move. But I'm not making any promises. We will see.
No, whatever you end up picking is exciting, and we'll look forward to the updates on that for sure. All right, was there anything else that you wanted to share, Ray, about your quarter? Any weird quirks in your stats? You've only read graphic novels? All the books you've read are audiobooks? No, nothing that, right?
No, nothing too crazy. I have only listened to like one and a little bit of audiobooks. Like I've been reading lots of physical books, which has been good, and I do want to like introduce more audiobooks. It just hasn't quite happened yet, but I've been reading a lot of fiction. That's what I would say. Cool. I think I only have 2 nonfiction books in my spreadsheet, and one of them is one I'm still currently reading, so I am falling behind in that a little bit. So maybe I want to go on a little nonfiction burst. But yeah, and not a lot of rereads, even though that was one of my goals. So we'll see how the year goes, because I always like aspire to reread more than I actually do, which always makes me sad. So I don't know why I don't like try harder at it. But
do you think that we should be like insanely meta about our goals next quarter? And like our goals should be like let's say what we really want to do, for example, is to read classics.
Yeah.
So our goal should be to like, this quarter I'm only going to read literary fiction.
Oh my God.
And then we know that we won't do it. And so we'll actually do the opposite.
Yeah, know thyself and trick yourself. Little psychological warfare against ourselves. I love that. That's a good idea. I'll start thinking on that for sure.
That is our quarterly update. So if you are also doing quarterly goals, please do give us your update on Instagram or here on YouTube if you're watching the video version, or even Spotify has comments, which is like, I always forget to look there, but then I will sometimes, and I'm like, oh my God, people have commented on Spotify. I didn't even know you could do that. Wherever you are, Patreon, let us know how your goals are going, and if you're flipping the page to a new set of goals, let us know for sure, because that's a lot of fun. All right, we are now going to transition over into our normal reading update, because we do also have stuff to let you guys know about. I'm actually really excited to tell you what I read, Ray.
Okay. I've been so curious. Yesterday, Ariel texted me, and she was like, I want to tell you what I'm reading, but I can't. I was like, okay.
So, last week, you set yourself a TBR challenge.
Oh, okay.
You set yourself the challenge of reading Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy. And I was shook. Because you'd already read Gumshoe by Brenna Thumb.
Oh, okay.
And these are both books that we're both anticipating.
That's true.
Year.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
And I felt like you were getting way ahead of me. Like I was being left in the dust.
Oh my God.
Felt like I was like forgotten in the wayside, watching you just triumph. I was like, I can't let this happen. And so I secretly TBR challenged myself to read both of them.
I love this.
And I did read them both.
Hell yes.
And I also made a Patreon reading vlog all throughout the process where I'm like, oh my God, okay, Raeleen, we're recording in 3 days. We're recording tomorrow. I have to finish the book.
This is awesome.
But I read both of these. So, shall we together talk about Half His Age?
Let's do it.
Jeanette McCurdy was a popular teenage actress in Nickelodeon shows like iCarly and Sam and Cat. In 2018, McCurdy retired from acting to focus on writing. Her memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, was published in 2022, won the 2023 American Library Association Alex Award, became a #1 New York Times bestseller, has been published in more than 30 countries, and has sold more than 3 million copies. McCurdy is creating an Apple TV series loosely inspired by the book, starring Jennifer Aniston. Half His Age is her debut novel and was published in 2026. I'm so excited that I did this.
I'm glad too, because I was like, how the hell am I going to talk about this book all by myself without you knowing what I'm talking about? This makes it so much easier to review.
It's also like, I feel like I caught up. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's not that I had fallen behind. Like, no one said
there's no
we
real
had to read
timeline.
these now. But I feel like I'm all caught up on my own homework.
You know what I love about this too? This feels like the opposite of that time that I read the Otessa Moshfegh book.
When you betrayed me?
Yeah, exactly. I got it 2 days early and I was like, I'm going to read it before Ariel could even get her hands on it. And it was a whole thing. It was a betrayal. This is like a beautiful sequel to that almost, but much more kind-hearted.
I'm really glad that I'm really glad to have read it. I was very curious about this book, and I think both of us were. I think, Jeanette McCurdy kind of came out of left field a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, she was known as a Nickelodeon star, which feels like a lot of the Nickelodeon and the Disney stars. There's so many of them. Yeah. Hilary Duff and not Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus, and all of these Ariana Grande. All of these young stars. Most of them go on to act or sing.
Yeah.
Right? Jeanette McCurdy retires and then decides to focus on writing. Mm-hmm. It is a very different path than so many of her peers have taken. But not only is it like, it's interesting that she did that, she then wrote one of the best memoirs I've ever read.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic memoir. And I felt like it was a cut above the rest, where it didn't just feel like a celebrity memoir that happened to be well written. No, it was like actually really well written.
Yeah, like if she wasn't a celebrity, this book still would have been published,
Exactly. Yeah. I totally agree. But then it was announced, like, she signed a 2-book deal, and the second book is a novel. And it was like, whoa, now what are we talking about? This is a whole different ballgame. Then this book is announced, Half His Age, published by, a great publisher, by Penguin and everything. And it's like, okay, what is this going to be? And how about you tell the plot, the basic plot? I don't want to.
Yeah, it's pretty basic, pretty straightforward. So the main character is a 17-year-old girl named Waldo, who is the daughter of a single mother who had her when she was 16. And so she's kind of like left to her own devices a lot. Her mom doesn't really take care of her and hasn't ever really taken care of her. So she's kind of a very lonely teen, very internal, judgmental, but lonely is kind of the key thing. And she becomes infatuated by her teacher, who is a 40-year-old man, and she just becomes obsessed with him and decides she wants him and starts up a relationship with him. So it is about a taboo relationship, very toxic relationship, and it's about a lot of things though. It's also about consumerism. She's obsessed with online shopping, and every time she feels down, she just goes crazy online and buys way more than she can. So it's about desire, loneliness, consumerism, all sorts of things. So it's a very straightforward book, but it is kind of about a lot of things.
I agree. It's a very simple story. It doesn't have a lot of characters, which added to the feeling of it being quite straightforward and a little lonely, where you've got the main character whose name is Waldo, which I thought was a strange
crazy
choice.
It's
one of those name choices that's it's too quirky.
Exactly.
It's too quirky.
And it's never
of a
explained
name
either. It never is explained this is why my mom named me this. If we had one little bit of information on that, it would have made it feel a little more grounded, but
I totally agree with that because like another example of this is Looking for Alaska, where the name Alaska is really quirky and you're like, that's such a quirky name for a main character. But then when you read the book, there's a lot of reasoning behind her name being Alaska, and it's actually very like, it's at least interesting. It's at least very purposeful. With Waldo, every time. Also, it's obviously such a sexual novel. And there's a lot of sex scenes throughout it. Yes. And every time that like they're having sex and someone says the name Waldo, it's very like strange. And I'm just like, maybe that's the point, to like constantly take you out of it. But like, it just felt like a strange name choice. I'm lingering on that too much. Yeah. Moving on. There's the teacher character that like she becomes really infatuated with and wants to like have. Mm-hmm. And he like goes into this... it's one of these books that's difficult to talk about because you like they're in a relationship, but it's not a relationship. Yeah. It is sexual abuse. It's like abuse of a minor. Mm-hmm. I was like, I understand that the age of consent is probably 16 because that's like where it is in most places. Yeah. And I looked it up. It is 16 and she is 17, but obviously, first of all, if you're having to look it up, like, it's too close. It's too close. But my point is, though, in Alaska and in lots of other places, the age of consent is 18 if the person you're in a relationship with is in a position of power over you.
Makes sense.
And obviously, this is her teacher. So not only is it already just completely dubious, like it's gross, but it actually is illegal because this is her teacher and anyway, so she is the victim of assault. But I think that very purposely, Jeanette McCurdy is making her a mixture of like, yes, she's definitely a victim here, but she's also has a lot of power in this book. Yeah. And she plays with her power and she's trying to understand her power, which I think is an interesting theme in the book. What other characters are there? There's the mom, who, like you say, isn't very there, but is kind of there. And there's a friend that she has that also is kind of there, but she
is not that important. I would say it's really only about the two characters for the most part, which I wish that there had been more with her mom. Like, I feel like the mother-daughter relationship is really interesting, especially with Jeanette McCurdy's history. I would have liked to see more of that, and I saw that in a lot of reviews too. That was one thing where I was like, I could have used a little less Mr. Corgi, honestly. Which is not a crazy name.
I really agree with that. I think that like the simplicity of the novel was good in some ways, but I found the book started to get quite repetitive.
Yes.
I felt like it was very cyclical. And, you know, there's one of these things where I will ask myself these things. I'm like, it's feeling really cyclical. And then I'm like, okay, wait. Give the author the credit of the benefit of the doubt there. Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe it's supposed to be mirroring kind of the cycle of abuse and how you like break out of it and then you get back caught into it and you get stuck in it and you break out of it and like it's supposed to be a cycle of abuse. We see that with her mother, who's like constantly in these cycles of terrible relationships and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that might be the point.
Also, I will also say that it kind of like I read this on Reddit, I think, and I was like, wait, yeah, like that was put into words what I couldn't like verbalize, which was that it feels like every single chapter is kind of just like jumping between all the juicy parts of the story and like skimming over all of the in-between stuff. So it's very like, and someone said like it's almost like she doesn't know how to like transition from one scene to another, and I was like, oh,
That's interesting.
I wonder, because it is kind of like that. It's like only the big moments that we're really seeing. We're not seeing like the in-between, the little like boring life moments, which maybe that's also the point. Like I said, there's a lot of this book where I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't connect with that, but maybe that was the point.
Like, I kept asking myself that. Maybe that was the point, but I am kind of bored. And like, it's like with the name, maybe the point is that it's a weird name, but it just feels like a weird name. Like it doesn't feel like it successfully pulls that off. I think that this book felt like it had some really great moments to me. Like the writing did feel strong. And when I was saying to Connor, I was like, I feel like I wish that Jeanette McCurdy had written a different project. Like, I didn't enjoy this project. And obviously, like, I don't read romance very much. I don't read any smut. I don't read, like, steamy books or... I don't read books with a lot of sex in them. Quite frankly, like, I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah, and is really what
this book had a lot of sex in it. And so I'm just a bit like, obviously, I was never going to love it. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. Like, it was already uphill against my usual taste. But I don't really know what it was doing in the landscape that other books or movies like this haven't already done.
Yeah, I know. I felt that too. It's like there have been enough.
You've read the big one, My Dark Vanessa. Which...
Yeah, I didn't like that one either.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people have said, like, if you don't like Half His Age, like, read My Dark Vanessa because it's better. And I'm like, I'm sure it is. I just don't really remember why I didn't connect with it. But yeah, like, I don't know. Maybe I just don't like being uncomfortable when I'm reading.
It's a deep level. Okay, I agree with that, though. To kind of unpack that a little bit more, I get being uncomfortable. I get, like, reading and writing about things that make you uncomfortable, that push you to a place that you don't normally inhabit in order to explore an important theme or an important idea. I don't disagree with that conceit. But there has to be a point. And I don't quite understand what the point here was.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Other than to say young women need support. I'm like,
yeah, like,
oh, sure,
that felt like the
obviously,
primary thing.
Of
like,
course. But, like, what is that saying that other books, the exact same books as the same theme, aren't already saying? For me, my earliest version that I remember of experiencing a story like this with this very similar setup was My Education, or Uneducation. Sorry, did you watch that movie?
No, I
with
still
Carey
haven't watched
Mulligan?
that. I've been wanting to watch that, but I haven't.
I watched that when I was a teenager, and I remember it feeling very taboo and sad and scary and stuff like that. And when I couldn't help comparing the two, even though I saw An Education like literally 15 years ago or something, like I couldn't help comparing the two because I was like, I already feel like I already know all of this. Like I already know what the story, and I already know that this is sad. I know that this is dark. It just feels a little torturous to live through it when I don't feel like something new is coming out of it.
Yeah.
In my reading vlog for Patreon, I had made it to about halfway. And I had said, like, okay, right now, I feel like we are halfway through a story I've already read.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because I have a feeling, or I have a hope, that Jeanette McCurdy's going to now do something. Basically, it's like you thought you knew what this was, but it's actually this, and, like, tilts it in a new way, or turns it upside down, or pushes it in a new direction. But I didn't feel like that happened. I felt like it did just kind of hit the beats of, this is a relationship the young girl thinks she wants.
Yeah.
She realizes she's being abused. She leaves the abuse. I'm not really sure, like, what else new happened in there. Yeah. And some of the other stuff, I guess, like, I wanted to say this, Ray. I wanted to ask you, did you feel like she was 17?
No.
She felt like she was 24.
Yeah, she simultaneously felt like she was 24 and at times felt like she was, like, 14. Like, I don't know, the way she behaved, it's like she feels either like a kid or like really grown up. Like, she felt like she was so like confident and like, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Like, she felt not 17. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like, I feel like she has a credit card. Again, I was Googling all sorts of things. You can't have a credit card until you're 18, unless it's you're co-signed on a parent's credit card. But, like, it's so set up in this novel that her mother would not have a credit card and would not be allowed to have her on a credit card. So I didn't understand how she had a credit card. I didn't understand how she was shopping so much. That was like a theme through.
Was working a minimum wage job. She kept like buying stuff. She did say that she had to like return stuff a lot. So I think it was like buying things on credit on impulse and then realizing, oh, I don't have this money. But it did seem like excessive.
Buying stuff. Like, she was buying hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of things all of the time on impulse. And I'm like, that's a thing that a 25-year-old can do. I know plenty of 20-year-olds that have a lot of credit card debt. I didn't know any 17-year-olds because 17-year-olds are not allowed to have credit cards.
Yeah,
and if they do, it's a very, like, $500 credit limit. It's not like this girl was spending, like, thousands of dollars. And, like, she works a minimum wage job after school sometimes, and sometimes on the weekend. Like, it wasn't even full-time hours. True. So I was like, you don't have the money for this. You have a credit card. Those things don't make sense. She had a car. She had so many things that an adult has that I'm like, a teenager might have some of these things, but not like all of these things. She operated like an adult. And again, right, back to our same question. I'm like, maybe that was the point. You know, she's like young. She's like old beyond her years. But I'm like, but it didn't feel that way. It just felt like she was a 22-year-old who was technically 17, but wasn't actually 17.
Yeah. It was confusing.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, like, I kept imagining her as Jeanette McCurdy. Did you do that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really did. I really, really did. And I kept trying not to.
I know, but I was like, her curly hair. Like, every time she mentioned her curly hair,
I was like,
I can't not see it.
Yeah, same. So what did you think overall? Like, did it work for you? Did it not work for you?
I was
Did you
like somewhere in between. Like this is a very polarizing book. Like a lot of people really hated it because of how like vulgar and over the top it is, and then a lot of people loved it for other reasons, like the representations of what it's like to be a young girl in the world. Like there are, and I can see both of those things. Like I'm very like in the middle. Like I would rate it probably like a 3, maybe 2.5 out of 5. Like I'm very much like down the middle. Like I found it very readable. I think it got me out of a reading slump, which is great. I like tabbed a few things. Like there were some really good quotes, mostly like I was saying about like being a teenager. Like I just found some of those lines to be really impactful. But overall, I'm like, I didn't love it. Like I definitely could not say, and I'm like, I'm not going to recommend this to anyone. Like who could I possibly recommend this to? So yeah, I like liked it, but I also didn't like it. I'm just like right down the middle on this one, which is why I was like, I don't know how I'm going to review this book. It's confusing. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I found it very readable. I've read it really quickly. I like Jeanette McCurdy's writing. I had moments where it felt like an Otessa Moshfegh novel, where I was just like, I get it. This is gross.
Yeah, she likes being gross, and yeah, it's like I don't always connect with that, but I do understand it, and like I respect it, I guess, in a way where it's like, it's similarly to her memoir. She like doesn't shy away from the ugly parts of life, which I think is good. Like I think that's important to do, but it is hard to read, you know?
I think the thing is though, I gave her memoir a 5 out of 5. Like I loved her memoir, and it is a very different style of writing and things, but it didn't click for me with this one. I don't think that it's garbage. I didn't think that it was terrible, but I also didn't think that this was fantastic and that I would recommend it, or that I'm really surprised by the direction she took it in. It felt quite normal. Yeah. And quite like nothing new was happening here, nothing that was pushing the boundary or pushing the idea in a new direction. I will also just say, of my own personal taste, it is a very vulgar novel. It's a very grotesque novel. It's a very sad novel. I was really glad to read it quickly because I don't want to spend a lot of time reading about a man abusing a girl. Like it's just a very disgusting, painful place to spend time. And so I can't even imagine writing this book because I'm like, you'd have to spend so much time, like years and years and years in this headspace, which I think is just really dark. So it's clearly just not something that I'm well suited to. And doesn't work for me, but also I just objectively felt, outside of my own feelings, I also just felt like, okay, well, within its own context though, within the world of this kind of book, within the world of this, did it do anything that I didn't expect? Or there was no moment where I read a page and I was like, no way. Yeah. Like, that never happened.
No, I agree with that. It did feel very formulaic, like we've seen this before. Yeah, and I think that's ultimately where it like really let me down. Like if it had pushed the boundaries, like you said, in some way, or like done something new or said something
which
new.
I would say her memoir did push the boundary. Yeah, her memoir felt so unlike other celebrity memoirs. It felt so unique, and that it did do something new in that and in its space. So I'm glad I read it because I was really curious about it, and it was one of my most anticipated books of the year for that reason. And I will check out another Jeanette McCurdy book.
Oh, me too. Like I'm still very excited to see
like this.
Yeah, like I hope that she kind of goes in a different direction for whatever her next project is.
If her next book is this kind of vulgarity, I don't think I will check it out. But if it's something else, I am very curious to see what it is.
Yeah. And what about Gumshoe?
Loved it. So cute.
So cute.
Okay, let me talk about Gumshoe. Brenna Thumler is the writer and illustrator of the Sheets series. She grew up in small-town Pennsylvania and also writes plays and musicals. Gumshoe was published in 2026. Gumshoe was so cute. I wish that I had read Gumshoe after I read Half His Age because it would have been such a good palate cleanser just to be like, life is okay. Life is okay. But like, I read it before I read Half His Age. So it was, here's what I'll say. Brenna Thumler is my favorite illustrator, period. I was going to say something else. And I was like, no, that's the end of the sentence. I love Brenna's drawings. I think that her sense of color is insane.
It is
her
insane.
sense of like just understanding what should be highlighted and what should be in the foreground and the background, and just, I don't know. It's just so beautiful. I love the way that she illustrates and colors and everything. I thought that was so good. I also think that this is a really cute story. It didn't land with me as powerfully as the Sheets books did. And I didn't connect with the main character or with the side characters as much as I did with the characters in Sheets. Sheets just felt like such a perfectly paced story, and like it really had a great mixture of like sentimental and emotional storytelling alongside whimsy and fun, alongside like a plot where I could understand where it was going. I found myself confused a couple times while reading this, where I was just like, wait, what just happened? And then I'd be like, okay, no, I'm not sure. And I'll just keep going. So there was a couple of moments where I got myself a little confused. And there was a couple of times when I just felt, I was like, this is really unbelievable. Like with some of these, the characters are all like 12 and they all run away from home to join a little gang. And like, maybe I'm too old, but I'm just like, where are the parents? The parents aren't even looking for them. Yeah. And like there's a point later on where somebody who's kind of involved talks to the mom of the main character who has run away. And the mom's like, it's so sad our daughter's run away. And I'm like, that's it?
Why
you're hosting a party? You're still hosting a party. Like you're not out there trying to find her. There was things like that where I was like, I think this is supposed to be like a kid's movie.
I was gonna say, it's like a cartoon.
Suspension.
I imagine it as a cartoon. Like things don't completely make sense. That's a really good way to put it. People have their cute little stock outfits that they're always wearing. Yes. Like, there was something about it that felt cartoonish to me. Like it does feel more like a kid's movie, like you say.
Yes, that's a really good way to put it. And you're totally right. It was more like a cartoon in a way that I wasn't gripping. Yeah. I wasn't gripping that correctly. Yeah. And so I just kept having these moments where I'm like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. But I still really liked it. I love to be inside of Brenna's worlds. And I think I did like the story for the main character. Like the main character is basically a little girl who has a really hard time talking. She has like a lot of social anxiety and feels like she can't speak up. And because of that gets in some trouble, ends up feeling like she has to run away, joins this gang of other little girls who are trying to stop this outlaw. I felt like there was like a few too many things going on. And I also guessed the plot twist. Like
me too. From the beginning, I was like, I know who it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that was a little unsatisfying because I was like, yeah, okay, I gotta see where this is going. So you're a little bit going through the motions. Yeah. But it was nice to see the girl like make friends, and it was cute. Yeah. Right. So I did like it, but it didn't stand up to Sheets for me. But it's still really, oh God, I'll read anything Brenna writes. I just love reading her stories, and I love looking at her art. Wow. So that actually is a quarterly update because I had 4 books that I'm like most anticipating this year, and I just read 2 of them.
Dang, I didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you did as well. The other 2 that I have are Heartstopper Volume 6 and Garden by Hiroko Oyamada.
Which may or may not come out.
I think it is coming.
I mean, I'm also down with you. Like, I want to read both those too. So if and when they come out, we should just buddy read them. Let's just like let bygones speak bygones and read them together.
Wouldn't you love that?
I actually would. Quarter 3 goal. Reread 3 books or buddy read 3 books with Ariel. You get forced into it.
Goal. Let bygones be bygones.
Come on, man. Let's just be friends.
All right. Well, let's talk about currently reading. I'll start us off. Nothing, because I just read those last night. Not both of them. I finished Gumshoe like a week ago, but I just finished Half His Age last night, so I haven't actually started on anything new, but I will hopefully be jumping into Anne of Ingleside. The other book I have here next to me is Northanger Abbey, which I'm going to be buddy reading with some friends. So I am very much excited to read this one in the next few weeks. Yeah, that's going to be exciting. But I haven't started on anything. How about you?
Oh, interesting. Well, plot twist, I actually have 2 more books to review.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
go on.
Yeah, like I said, Half His Age kind of broke me out of what I feel like was a reading slump. Like I felt like I was kind of just drifting along, like not sure what to read or not reading at all. And this kind of broke me out of that a little bit. And I got into maybe I just want to read more stuff that's kind of like similar, about like crazy teenagers and stuff is kind of like where I was going. And so the next book that I decided to pick up was The English Understand Wool by Helen Dewitt. Helen Dewitt is an American novelist who grew up primarily in Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, and Ecuador as her parents worked in the U.S. diplomatic service. She is best known for her debut novel, The Last Samurai, which was published in 2000. The English Understand Wool was published by New Directions in 2022 as part of the Storybook ND collection. So this one has kind of been a long time coming, because you read this a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I went out.
I loved that book.
Yeah, this was so good. I went out and bought it like a year or two ago, and I've just been waiting for the right moment. And I was also like, it's short. This book is like 70 pages long or less. And it's about a 17-year-old girl who's kind of alone in the world, like at the beginning of the story.
You're so right. This is,
right?
It's actually very similar to Half His Age in the themes, like loneliness and power and needing connection and finding it in a weird way.
Yeah. Yeah, like this is a book that I don't want to like tell the whole plot because it is a very short book, and I think you did the same thing, but it's essentially about a young girl who has kind of like been given a lot in life, and then suddenly it's all kind of like taken away and changed. And it's also about her like writing a memoir, and the publishing, like the editor and the publishing system is kind of like working against her, and so it's about her like sticking up for herself, and like she's very like fiercely independent, which I really liked. So yeah, it was like a weird like kind of sequel to Half His Age for me, but I enjoyed this one much more. I found it very engaging to read. I, of course, read it in one sitting, and I'm now very curious to read more books by Helen Dewitt because, just curious. But yeah, so really enjoyed that. Don't have too much to say about that. I just really had a good time with it.
That's great. I feel like that book has a really cool crescendo. Like it, it really ends in a fun way.
Oh yeah, because you're like, what is this girl gonna do next? Like she's kind of unpredictable because you don't really know, even though you're reading like from her perspective, you're like, you don't really know what she's capable of or like what she wants to do. And I found that very fun. But then the next book I read is also kind of in a similar theme, and that is Are You Listening by Tilly Walden. Tilly Walden is a cartoonist and illustrator from Austin, Texas. She is a graduate of the Center for Cartoon Studies and is the creator of many award-winning graphic novels. Her accolades include an Eisner Award for Spinning, 3 Eisner nominations, and 2 Ignatz Awards. She currently lives in Los Angeles, and Are You Listening was published in 2019. So yes, trying to like continue my train of reading, because I was like, yes, I'm catching up. That's also how I felt, like I needed to catch up in a way, like I was falling behind a little bit, and I was like, gotta read more TBR books. And I just kept kind of following this train. So Are You Listening is about 2 young women who are on a road trip, essentially. Like they kind of get thrown together kind of by accident. They like know each other from their hometown, but they like meet up kind of on the road, and one of them is on a journey to go visit her aunt, and the other one is running away from something, and you don't really know what she's running away from throughout most of the book, but you just know that like something is wrong, and both of them are like hurting in lots of ways. And so the book is basically about these 2 people who kind of felt like they like had no one to talk to, are now stuck in a car with each other for hours and hours and hours, and they both are able to like share their story. Cool. And yeah, it is about some dark topics, so definitely look up trigger warnings if you want to, but it's so beautiful and so like unexpectedly surreal as well. Like they're on a road trip, but things start to get kind of weird at a certain point, and I was like, oh, what is this book? Like the closest thing I can compare it to is Over the Garden Wall, which I never thought I would experience while reading this book. But like there's these weird spooky figures who are kind of like chasing after them. Another element is they have this cat who is on the cover. They find this cat when they're on the road trip, and the cat like is special. There's something special about the cat, and she's really important. And so throughout the whole story, they're trying to like return this cat to its owner, but they like can't find the owner and stuff. So it gets on this like weird surreal journey that all kind of ties together beautifully for me. Like I could see a lot of people not enjoying those elements, but I really liked it. It was weird and beautiful and sad and like heart-wrenching. Like it was a lot of things, and I thought it was really beautifully done. And of course the art is amazing. Similarly to Brenna Thumler, like I love everything Tilly Walden draws because her style is just so like interesting, and she also does lots of really cool things with color. And there's one page that I wanted to show you that's of a swimming pool. I took a clip of this for the B-roll, but yeah, the swimming pool page is my favorite, and a really pivotal scene happens there. So I was like, wow, it was just like really powerful image, this like empty swimming pool where these girls have a heart-to-heart, and yeah, it was great. I really loved it, and I've been meaning to read this book for a really long time now, so it felt good to knock that one off.
I remember I had ARC copy of that book. And I think I gave it away.
It happens.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Do you remember the swimming pool scene in Whip It?
Yes, I remember.
It's got such a good song that plays
Ooh,
during
I don't remember which song it is, but I do remember the scene.
What's it called? It's by Lars something or other.
Can't say I'm familiar.
You don't remember the swimming pool Lars song?
Tell me more about Lars.
Oh, I'm so annoyed that I don't remember the name of the song. Okay. Song during Whip It pool scene. Wow, I've really typed everything wrong. Yes, Your Arms Around Me by Jens Leckman.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't Lars. It was Jens.
It was Jens. So sorry.
Anyway, I love that song.
Yeah. But the last reading update I have, I guess, is the book that I'm now currently reading, which, like, I'm just following my heart on all of these books, and that is Set My Heart on Fire by Izumi Suzuki, which is kind of another similar thing. This one is set in the 70s, and the main character is 23, and it's, like, very focused in kind of like the underground like music scene, and she's very like counterculture, like it's that kind of whole vibe. And so it's just like about her and like all of these like fleeting relationships she's having with people. Like she doesn't really get too deep with anyone, and I'm like, okay, let's see where this is gonna go. She's like a troubled, like she feels like a troubled teen, but she's not a teen anymore, which is also interesting. Being like a young 20s lost in the world, like that's such a universal experience. So yeah, and it's like I said, it's about music and stuff too, which I'm really enjoying. Like her and her friend are like obsessed with going to concerts and stuff, so that's been a whole thing. And yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. It's not cool, like it doesn't feel like it's gonna be a new favorite or anything, but I am enjoying it, and we will see what I read next.
Okay.
I kind of feel like I'm back a little, you know when that happens when you just like aren't reading as much or what you'd want to be, and then you suddenly are. I feel like that's kind of what's happening to me right now.
I really do know what you mean. I hope that happens to me soon.
I'm sure it will. Anne will save you.
Anne will save me. I feel very sure of that. All right, well, shall we take a visit to the mailroom?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, I pulled a bunch of comments from YouTube. I felt like I just kept finding good ones.
That's really good.
So this first set of comments are all from Jaina E. Mast. Okay. She left a comment and then a comment and then a comment. Okay, get ready for this journey.
I'm excited.
I always enjoy your episodes, but this one was extra epic somehow in a cozy, calm sort of a way. And I needed that extra much today because I'm 8 days overdue, and you kept me entertained on a 2-mile walk in the cold wind while trying to coax this baby to come. I'll let you know if it worked, haha.
Oh my
Thanks
gosh.
either way. A day later. Oh, and happy birthday, CJ. Sorry, my baby didn't become your birthday twin. A day later, or 2 days later. My baby ended up coming on my birthday, 2 days after I took the walk with your pod episode. He was born at home, and my husband made it home 30 minutes before, and the midwife got there 20 minutes before.
My God.
So it may not have been directly related to your entertainment for me, but I think it's somehow connected. Cheers!
Wow, that's epic.
Crazy. So congratulations. That is so exciting. Hello to that baby. Welcome to the world. I'm sure that we need you. This is going to be great. Wow. That's crazy. I hope both of you are really healthy. Okay. Isabel says, I think everyone who has buttons on the side of their mouse should have one be a back on their browser. Ooh. Changed my life. This is interesting because obviously I was doing a lot of mouse talk, and I felt like, everyone's tips are very welcome. My last mouse had 2 buttons on the side, and I had set it so that one of them was back on the browser, and I would accidentally bump it all the time, and then it would go back, and I'd be so frustrated.
Yeah.
So
it could be annoying.
That didn't work out for me, but I can see that being helpful. Meg says, I go to the theater by myself all the time, right? Because we talked about going to the theater, and because you went to the theater, obviously. She goes on to say, it never feels weird. There is a lot to pay attention to, but thrice recently, strangers have mentioned to me that they think it's brave that I attend shows by myself.
Okay.
I think that's really interesting. I like that Meg didn't really, like make an observation about what had happened to her, because I'm also like, I don't know exactly what conclusion we can take from that, but it is interesting that people think you're literally brave for going out by yourself, and it's like,
that
it
is kind of
take
crazy.
bravery.
It's not that difficult.
We're also antisocial.
Yeah.
Okay, at KB says, oh, sorry, no, there was another theater one. At Cassie says, my nearby theater had a bunch of shows that I wanted to see. So I bought season tickets as a graduation gift for myself.
Nice.
The best decision. I wish I started going by myself earlier. No one really cares if you're alone. I've gotten to see some great shows and take a self-care afternoon every few weeks.
Oh, that sounds
I feel
really
like that's such a good idea. And like, obviously, it made me think of your seasonal zoo pass, where it's like a yearly pass to the zoo.
I just renewed it, actually. I'm ready to go to the zoo for another year.
Incredible. But I just feel like, and you mentioned sports. Like, a lot of people have seasons passes to their favorite sports team. I feel like a seasons pass. Are we thinking about that enough as an option in our lives?
I feel like it makes it feel so much more accessible to do things, even though like it doesn't necessarily change it, but it's like, oh, well, I already have the thing, so I should go.
I already paid for it.
Yeah, exactly. It like makes you want to go more to like make it worth it. And
yeah, I totally agree. I think
know.
the seasons pass to live theater, that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, I should look into that.
All right, now I have 3 comments about F1.
Okay.
At KB says, Ariel, my brother just got back from Australia. He went to the F1 event there. He loved it and got a tattoo with the track and his seat number.
Whoa.
He's been a fan for decades. He's 52. He also bumped into Mario Andretti and got a picture with him. I love this. I am now, it's become a dream of mine to go to an F1 race. I want to hear the cars myself someday. That's my dream. It just makes me so happy to think, because it is like a big investment. The tickets are very expensive, but also like, I've heard that it can bring like up to 300,000 people into the city or whatever. And so the hotel prices become really expensive and the flights become really expensive, obviously, because there's that surging. And so it becomes a very expensive thing that you can't do very often. And to hear that KB's brother got to do it, I'm just like so happy for him. I think that's so nice. Rose says, I can't believe F1 has infiltrated Books Unbound. Both my husband and my dad are lifelong dedicated fans. Whoa. And so I have learned far more than I have ever wanted to over the years. I think that's cute. I think, I have that with soccer. My family loves soccer and I enjoy it. I just don't I don't follow it though, but I know a lot about it because they watch it and they're always talking about it. It's like fun how you absorb things from your family and friends. Yeah. All right, and the final one. At Betty says, oh my God, I'm so excited about you being in your F1 era, Ariel. I've been following it since 2019 and it's still one of my biggest obsessions. I'm excited for you to delve into it more. Do you have any favorite drivers? Please don't say Stroll. I know he's Canadian, but please.
Amazing.
Okay, so when I started watching, when I started learning about the whole thing or whatever, I was like, one of my first impulses was, are there any Canadian drivers?
Yeah.
And there is one.
Wow.
Lance Stroll. And I was like, yes, I'm just going to cheer for him.
Yeah, of course, easy.
I wonder what he is. Look him up. His dad, Lawrence Stroll, is a multi-billionaire, bought an F1 team so that his son could race for it.
That's dirty.
It's dirty. It's so dirty. It's so money. It's just money. It's filthy money. They're awful. Lance is not a good driver. Lawrence is terrible. I don't know much about Lance other than he's not a very good driver, but is on a team because his dad literally bought it.
That's crazy.
But that's not appealing to me at all.
Funny.
So he's not my favorite. It's so sad that we don't have another Canadian driver on the... There's only 20 spots, Ray.
Yes, yeah.
There are only 20 drivers, so it's very limited pool. There are lots of drivers that I like. My favorite driver right now, and has been for the past few weeks, is Lewis Hamilton. I love Lewis Hamilton. He has won 7 championships. Wow. So there are 2 every year. Oh God.
I know. I'm like, I don't know anything.
Every year there are 2 championships. There's the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship. The driver is like the driver that gets the most points. Typically the driver who wins the most races. But you get points for getting 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, up to 10th. So like you're always scoring you're trying to score points, and then whoever gets the most points at the end is the Drivers' Champion.
Sure.
Lewis Hamilton has won that 7 times.
Wow.
Tied with the other best driver of all time, Michael Schumacher, who has also won it 7 times. So he's desperately trying to get the 8th win.
I see.
But it's now been like 4 years and he hasn't won it again.
That's epic.
So that's a very stressful, scary journey. But I love Lewis Hamilton. His fashion is awesome. He's just a really cool dude. He's very calm and collected and chill, and he doesn't really freak out like the other ones do. Everyone has their moments where they like scream in the car or whatever, but like overall he's way more cool and calm than a lot of the other ones. So the other championship, the Constructors' Championship, is again similarly who gets the most points, but of the teams. So like Ferrari versus Mercedes versus McLaren, like all the teams you've heard of, they're also, and if they win a lot of money for the team for the next year.
Love that.
I know you're riveted.
I thought that was going to be like an award for the people who like put the car together. I thought that was going to be really nice.
Basically it is, because the team makes the car. Every team has their own car with their own team of engineers and mechanics and everything. And so basically it's cool because you can, for example, Red Bull top team, the top player driver is Max Verstappen. He won the Drivers' Championship, right? But Red Bull did not win the Constructors' Championship because their second driver, Checo, not very good that season.
No.
So you in order to win the Constructors, you need both of your drivers to get you points consistently, right? So there's like a different
So you can't be like Brad Pitt in F1 where he's constantly trying to lose.
Well, you can't be. On the other hand, Brad Pitt does a lot of good teamwork in that movie.
No, he does.
Sometimes he really does do it for the team. This is why it's such a cool sport, because there's another one of the many reasons why it's so great, because there are times when you really need to focus on like the driving and just like you winning, but then there are lots of times when it's a team sport and you need to work with your teammate.
Like the strategy is unlike any other sport that I know of.
It is really strange.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's so fun to listen to the radio because everyone's radioing in and everyone can hear everyone else's radio. But only one person is talking to the driver. But like you'll hear one driver say to his manager, like, I'm having a problem with my front tire. And then you'll hear everyone, all the other managers say to the other drivers, Lando's having a problem with his front tire. And then they know. So they're all learning information about each other on there. It's so cool. I like Lando Norris. I like, Leclerc. Oh, he just won the Monaco Grand Prix and I was so relieved. Everyone else following along will understand. I like Gasly a lot. But yeah, so there's quite a few drivers that I like, but I don't have a favorite team. My favorite team is Mercedes, but Lewis Hamilton left Mercedes. Oh, no. And now I'm just like, I don't know if I do like George Russell. I don't know. I don't like the mean drivers. There's like a lot of like, there's kind of nicer drivers and mean drivers, just like with any sport. Yeah. And I don't like the mean ones. They stress me out.
Okay, I actually have a question for you on this, and then we can maybe stop talking about F1. But maybe. My question for you is, how much of your, like, taking in of F1 is, like, from watching Drive to Survive, and how much of it is, like, reading about the people yourselves, or, like, watching videos or whatever? Because, like, I'm just curious, like, how up-to-date you are, I guess. Because you were talking about not wanting to...
Thank you for asking. Like, this is a fantastic question.
It's kind of, like, crazy.
So, basically... First, I watched the F1 the movie 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
That, obviously, hugely informational. Then, I started doing a lot of research just into how F1 works. Yeah. Like, okay, there's 2 championships. How do those work? How is F1 different from NASCAR or from other races? Super different. Learning about the sport and the rules of the sport and the history of the sport. Then I discovered Drive to Survive, so I started watching Drive to Survive. Once I started watching Drive to Survive, I've stopped looking anything up.
Okay.
Because the show is told in a way that has all these internal stories, and I don't want to get any spoilers because I'm like, I'm only going to get to enjoy this one time.
Yeah.
And I can just wait on the other stuff. So I have really stopped looking stuff up. I have just finished season 7.
Okay.
And I've just started season 8.
So you're almost done, right? Is that the last one?
Yes. So season 8 is the final season, and it tells the story of 2025.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're almost all caught up.
I'm almost all caught up, and then I can know what's going to happen in.
Okay.
So I have, because I am so invested in Lewis Hamilton winning the 8th championship, I have looked up who won the first 2 races of this year.
Okay.
Not Lewis Hamilton, which is really stressful, but he got a podium. Anyways, it doesn't matter. They have one more race next weekend.
Okay.
And then there's no races in April because of the insane conflict that's happening in the Middle East. All of the races in the Middle East have gotten canceled. And so there's like a whole month off. So I'm just like, that month is where I'm going to look everything up.
You're going to learn everything.
And really catch up and get to watch like interviews with the drivers for this year and stuff. And then I'll actually be caught up.
That's awesome.
The final thing I will say about
F1
is that I was gifted this book. My friend Eli found this in a charity bin in, I think, Habitat for Humanity, because that's what it says on the back. Double Apex, a spicy must-read for F1 fans.
Like, is this book the thing that will get you into romance? Maybe.
Yeah, here we go. Josie Juniper is the author. It says an engineer and a cocky race car driver go head-to-head in the spicy Formula One romance for fans of Drive to Survive. And Hannah Grace, who I looked it up. Hannah Grace is an author. I was like, it must be a show.
Yeah.
Because Drive to Survive is... No, Hannah Grace is an author. Totally and so the woman in this, Phaedra Morgan, is one of the best race engineers in Formula One. She's a math prodigy. And then Cosmin Ardelean is intense and committed, but as famous for his off-track romantic exploits as his on-track wizardry.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that kills me. I do not think I'll ever read this, but I love that my friend bought it for me and thought of me when he saw it, and it was a great gift. It was $2. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't...
I would do the same thing. So, watch out. If I see one at the thrift store, you're going to have a second one.
It's so awesome. So, that's so cute. Those were my mailroom comments, Ray, and some of my F1 comments. What about you?
I didn't really have much, honestly. I was looking at Patreon, and people were mostly wishing CJ a happy birthday, which is very beautiful.
Nice.
And a lot of people were also like, woo, F1! And so I figured you would have enough F1 comments, so I only pulled 2. This one from Marmar says, Ariel talking about Shirley Jackson's kids brought me back to the whole Davy story. If you know, you know. That was funny. I didn't say it while you were talking in that episode, but I was thinking the same thing the whole time. I'm like, Davy. Bad kids. We don't like bad kids in a book.
Thankfully, he's all grown up now in the Anne series.
Oh, he's
like
still
a
around.
young man. He's a young man.
I
now.
couldn't remember who he belonged to. Is he Anne's kid or is he something else?
No, he's kind of like Anne's cousin, but Marilla raises him.
Okay.
And his twin sister.
I see.
It makes no sense. It was a complete mistake.
Absolutely crazy. But then the second comment I pulled was just like a funny moment that now I want to like rewatch the episode to find. TM just says, Ariel leaning back, shrugging big and saying, "We" should be a gif I can send to people when they ask me ridiculous questions. And multiple people were like, yes, wait, that's so awesome. So in our last episode, it was at 43:37, if anyone wants to find it. Thank you, TM, for doing the work. I'm like, I love that. I love
I don't even remember
physical comedy. I know, I don't know either. We were talking in French for some reason. I do remember that, but do I remember why?
Oui.
Non.
Mon Dieu.
Oh, mon Dieu.
Well, that brings us to the end of this big episode. We hope that you guys enjoyed this one. Obviously, it was our quarterly update, so a lot to update you guys on. Excited to hear how your guys' goals are going. We are now going to go and record our Patreon bonus podcast, The Question Vase, where we answer questions from our patrons. So that'll be a lot of fun. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.